boy. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Chomping at the Bit, where I talk about all the latest things of film and other things regarding pop culture. And oh boy, I just got back from watching Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, and I know some reviews are pretty mixed, but I will just straight up say I absolutely really liked it. Though I know there are some reservations that you'll say there are some things that are kind of, a little, just. But still, overall, it was solid. I say I give it a solid 8 out of 10. But like I said, though, remember everyone, what I'm gonna say to you right now. This is 100% a spoiler review. So if you have not seen the movie, click off right now. Go and see it, and then come back, and then be sure to give me your thoughts in the comments about it. I'll wait. Okay, that was quick. So yes, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire is a sequel to essentially the rebooted Ghostbusters Afterlife, which again followed the family of former Ghostbuster Egon Spengler, and now the Spengler family have returned to the firehouse in the Big Apple, and now they have well established themselves as fighting ghosts. But the movie kind of starts off a little bit back during the 1800s, or probably during probably the 1920s. I couldn't really tell the time period, but it was like the early times in New York City, and or more or less. Well, I think probably 1800s, before this is like before even cars were invented. So yeah, I'm starting to say like late 1800s. So yeah, it starts off with a bunch of with the city's fire brigade going into the Society of American Society of Adventurers, and they walk in expecting a fire, but it turns out the entire place is completely frozen over. That one shot we saw from the trailer, where you see a whole bunch of people frozen to death and one of them just straight up shatters. Yeah, that's literally at the start of the movie. And of course, we then cut to present day in New York City. And of course, the Spengler family and Paul Rudd's character, Gary Gruberson, who is pretty much ingrained himself in the family, though technically he's just kind of skirting around the idea that he's like, I mean, be better to just take the Spengler family name, because I think he even says it near the end of the movie, like, you don't want to call yourself Gruberson. It's not a good name. It's kind of, I know they kind of joked about that in the last movie, but he's ingrained himself, and I know his character, he kind of skirts around the idea of, of where does he fit in this family. He's essentially their stepdad. I mean, it's obvious, but he says step teacher. Like, one thing he could have also said that, oh yeah, I'm like your mentor, and and of course this is a step above me doing seismology in Oklahoma. And yeah, so he's really gotten in. I know, sure, he kind of just he obviously respects both the Spengler kids, and again, he's kind of ingrained in the family in a way. And I know Carrie Coon's character, Callie Spengler, of course, the mom and the daughter of Egon, is obviously here, and and of course, again, she also has become a part of this. I mean, it's in her. I mean, it's essentially in her blood. I mean, we've seen this, that now that she's busted ghosts. And again, I'm really glad that their relationship that her and Gary's relationship is on a high note here. It's really, really nice to see that they're just having some good banter between each other. It's really, really sweet. So yeah, I mean, yeah, Trevor's just kind of being Trevor, still trying to. I know, still he kind of is like still trying to come into his own. I know he tries to make the best of the fact that he's an adult now, but because Phoebe, aka McKenna Grace's character, one of the big subplots is that again she's still technically a teen. She's still technically a teenager and a minor because she's only 15 in the movie, and in the last film she was about say 13, like 12 or 13, I think. So yeah, it's kind of like she essentially gets benched because they were trying to capture that sewer dragon ghost, and of course this is where they first try to use the RC ghost trap, and then they switch, and then once they get out of range, they switch to the drone trap, which is actually pretty dang cool that it's all like interconnected on the Ecto 1. So I gotta say it's really cool. So yeah, they're just plowing through the streets of New York trying to catch this thing, and of course Phoebe's trying to use the gunner seat, and she immediately like snares it by the tail, but holding on to it was the real struggle, and really kind of kept you on the edge of your seat there with that whole entire scene. And I gotta say it was good, I know, but immediately following that, after some bits of destruction and a little bit of a newsreel, guess who happens to be back? Good old Mr. Dickless himself, Walter Peck. And now he is Mayor Walter Peck. It's just wow. The guy is still after the fact that he wants to discredit the Ghostbusters and literally wants to shut them down when he just started out as a representative of the Environmental Protection Agency. It's just wow. This guy is dead set on trying to literally try to break these guys down. You saw it in the game. You saw it in the Ghostbusters game. It's kind of crazy he wasn't in 2 though. But I mean, he pretty much is a recurring character in this franchise. But yeah, that's the main point of his character is trying to just shut the Ghostbusters down. And there are points, and of course, like since Phoebe is still technically a child in his eyes. I mean, yeah, you can't really be. I mean, but come on, it's best to hire a teenager to work at a damn burger joint or something. But still, I know. But the thing is, Phoebe, just like her grandfather, she's brilliant at what she does. She's unnaturally smart. And she's resourceful, and it's not really grating. I mean, she kind of takes you could say she really takes a lot of that stuff off her grandfather. I mean, even then, I know here's something it's a tad bit funny because it's more implied because immediately when we see her look like she's about to do something really insane and wild, it just cuts to the next scene where I think she probably. Where it's implied that she probably spit a bunch of profanities at her mother when he's saying, "You can't just boo me like this. This is what I meant to do." Stuff like this. Well, and they just give her the talk up. I mean, it's a much different thing of like, oh, you're being reckless or dangerous. It's like, no, it's just more of, yeah, we understand that you are, I know, but just it's kind of like they're still kind of telling her to still just try to be a normal kid somewhat in the movie, but still, I mean, what teenager would not get a chance to like do something where they essentially save the world? I mean, who wouldn't? I mean, it's crazy, but still. She gets benched, and even later in the film, when they seriously do something a little crazy, I kind of somewhat forgot about that part. But they do get in there, try to catch something. And they are promptly arrested. Or wait, no. Yeah, I'll get to that a little bit later. But collateral damage happens. They get arrested. But yeah, we'll get to that part. But moving onward, Ray, we then cut to Ray Stantz, and of course he's still at his occult bookshop, and he's also working alongside Podcast, who was played by Logan Kim. So yeah, he's back. And of course, he and Ray are doing a new show where they try to bring on they try to bring in guests in the shop and basically try to use the PKE meter to try to assess if something is like if some object is possessed. And apparently some old lady brings in her late husband's watch, and oh man, it's kind of weird, but he says it gets the podcast says it gets the views. Apparently, the lady claims her late husband's watch is possessed. They don't detect anything in it, and he immediately just goes Gallagher on it and just smashes the damn watch. It's like, dude, you just destroyed essentially an heirloom of somebody. Just like, wow, that's being a major dick right there, podcast. But yeah, a little bit later, they get, the guy who's supposed to be played by, I'm trying to pronounce his name here, Kamal Ali Nanjalani's character, Nadim. He brings in a mystical orb. He hangs some sort of mystical orb that might actually be possessed. And apparently, when Ray puts the BKE meter over it, it's the spectral energy giving off. It's off the charts. It's insanely off the charts. So much that it actually starts freezing the table. So yeah, hence where this thing. So yeah, this so-called ghostly antagonist obviously revolves around freezing powers, and of course using the power of fear itself to freeze anything and everything around it. And apparently, yeah, this dude Nadeed had this damn thing in his possession, and apparently it dates as far back even before Sanskrit was even written. So it's that ancient. And that orb was also found in that archaeological society back in the 1800s. So obviously, and I think it was still in his so-called great-grandmother's hand. She was a guardian. She was meant to be a guardian of this thing, essentially. And he decided he could just try to sell this thing after she apparently passes away, and tries to sell it for $50. Dude, if that thing is so priceless, don't you think you would probably, give it to like somebody like the Smithsonian Institute, but you're gonna give it to some occult bookshop that apparently deals in that stuff, but you're gonna give it away for $50? Like, bro, you could probably at most buy like a week's worth of gas in your tank in New York City for that amount of money. Like, dude, just bro, that's like, why would you do this? But yeah, of course, this thing is dangerous, and apparently now, it's because of this. Not only do the Ghostbusters have the firehouse, and again, the Spangler family have essentially moved in and just made themselves at home living there, but there's now a secondary site outside the city where they actually conduct a lot more research and have a much larger containment field where they actually are now researching ghosts. And this is all paid for by Winston, because we already found out in the last movie that he's made an entire multi-million-dollar fortune in finance. And yeah, so they are really payrolled right here throughout this whole movie. They really got a good payroll going on. And of course, one of the ghosts is like a little tiny red energy ball thing that just like flies around. It's simply known as the Possessor, and of course it can just possess any small any inanimate object it can at will. And yeah, they don't really know, because again, this thing is very, very powerful, that it literally that this damn orb is so powerful that it literally just sort of lights, that it just literally causes anything, and literally even causes the micro containment fields that contain some of the ghosts that they observe and the other ones that are imprisoned. Eventually, it literally caused the power to shut down, and again, thankfully, they had backup generators. And yeah, it's really insane. And even then, just knowing about this whole called powerful death chill thing, hell, even when I was in the theater, I actually felt a chill up my spine just thinking about it, because they do up the fear factor in here. Because I'm really glad that they can that the two newer movies have perfectly tried to balance being funny and also trying to be scary too. So I'd say it's really, really good. It's perfect. So yeah, and I mean, it's run. And I mean, this new research center is run by their friend they met out in Summerfield, Oklahoma. Lucky, played by Callista O'Connor or Celeste O'Connor. Sorry, I completely butchered her name right there. But yeah, Celeste O'Connor's character Lucky, and of course a new guy who's probably supposed to be the new uh, allegory for Egon in somewhat of a way, played by James Alacaster, this new guy known as Lars Pinfield, which honestly, in hindsight of the whole movie, he doesn't really get to do much in this movie, really. So I think he's the only character that kind of got the short end of the stick, because I mean, he literally just got introduced in this movie. So if there are going to be more future Ghostbusters sequels, which I am very much open to seeing more, I really hope they get him more to do, because yeah, this movie is brimming with all the characters. You have the new characters of Afterlife, you have the OG characters, you have Winston, Venkman, and of course Janine Milnetz, who actually gets it's a little bit more to do. I mean, it's amazing that everyone kind of all do get at least get something to do in this movie. And sadly, I will say this to everybody, to anyone who is watching, once again, this is a spoiler heavy review, but Rick Moranis, he's not in it again. Missed opportunity, but again. So if you saw the trailer, the person running away was actually Nanjalani's character, Nadeed. He was the one running away. But again, another thing that was brought up that they take the orb further to the New York Library, the site of where it all began. And of course, we get introduced to Oswald Patton's character, Dr. Hubert Wazaki. I can't really pronounce that word. It's weird. But yeah, Oswald Patton's character, Dr. Hubert, yeah, apparently, yeah, he obviously takes them down to the deep core of the older parts of the library in the basement. And of course, he delivers the story that this ancient orb dates as far back as even before Sanskrit was even invented. So yeah, it's obviously something close to Middle Ear. It's pre-Sumerian. And apparently, obviously, some powerful ruler used some ancient spirit known as, darn, I completely already forgot the name. Garaka, that's his name. The ghost antagonist named Garaka. This powerful ghostly demon, Garaka, obviously was powerful enough that he could wipe out entire armies, and he could have invaded and he could have conquered the whole of the Middle East and Asia. But ultimately, Garaka obviously had his own plans for total world domination, and they obviously tortured him, pulled his so-called demonic horns off, his demonic ice horns off, and pretty much imprisoned him in a ball. And of course, these were done by a powerful group known as Fire something. I don't know. I completely forgot that. But they're essentially firebenders that basically use their fire-based powers to fight spirits. And the brass orb he was imprisoned in. Obviously, of course, brass apparently is they say in the film was a way of entrapping spectral energy. So yeah, little note of world building right there. But yeah, that brass orb was pretty much just stowed away in some kind of chamber inside this dude's apartment that of course once belonged to his family and his grandmother. And he stumbled upon it, found that orb just resting on that thing, and of course it was probably not meant to be found. Or of course she just chanted to try to keep that thing quiet so it wouldn't unleash its power against the entire world again. So, but yeah, but of course, again, the guy just tries to sell it for like freaking $50 at Ray's Occult store. It's just really, really stupid. Again, effectively, he caused all this. It's so powerful. The orb is so powerful that, yeah, but I keep losing my train of thought. Garaka. I keep forgetting the damn name of this damn ghost. Garaka. And again, like it is said, it has the power to basically freeze things with and basically kill with the power of fear itself, and thusly creating ice around it and everything else. But another thing, but meanwhile, all this is happening. Yeah, since Phoebe is basically benched, she essentially just goes to the park, and obviously just starts playing chess by herself. And you think that the chess pieces are moving. Oh wait, is that Egon coming back? But no, it's some strange girl ghost who's played by Emily Arden Lynn, if you know her from that new Frankenstein movie that just came out. So yeah. And apparently, yeah, she's obviously just trapped in the mortal world, no way out, no way to cross over to the other side. And yeah, naturally, Phoebe sort of befriends her because, she's sulking. She feels like she can't, she feels disconnected and feels left out of being a Ghostbuster. And, they kind of click with each other for a little bit, but I know this doesn't happen, but there's a small moment, I think, that, of course, people are going to try to misconstrue it with that. There's possibility there may have been some small, some sort of greater connection in a way, which I'm pretty sure some people were probably hoping for, but I wasn't. But yeah, the thing is that since she felt lost and felt left out, that it's kind of crazy. She even says it herself that she feels weird, that she feels more connected and feels more related to a ghost, and even wants to know what it's like being a ghost. Which, again, the thing in the research facility that they use, not only is it able to capture ghosts, but it actually can pull. They actually have a device that actually can pull spectral energy out of a so-called possessed object and puts it in the larger, newer containment field. And interestingly enough, Phoebe actually uses this device to try to actually separate herself, astral project herself, whatever you want to call it, for about a couple minutes, and the orb automatically reacts to it. And the thing is, this was all a complete ruse by this ghost chick to lure Phoebe by Garaka to essentially give her way. And again, this Garaka being actually literally, even just inside the orbit, actually has the power to command other ghosts by sheer will. It's crazy. So really ups the stakes. And I mean, honestly, this Garaka being is powerful. It literally, honestly, when I think about it, it puts freaking Gozer to shame. So yeah, basically Gozer now pretty much has as a character that's a run for its money. And it's crazy. It's really, really crazy that this all comes, but yeah, all those ghosts that were commanded by Gozer, they're all completely trapped within all those other traps out in Oklahoma. So yeah, it's great. And yeah, and even then also Bill Murray also his first scene is, of course, he's there and he's doing the sort of like things that they did with, like, they did with Louis Tully in the first Ghostbusters film. They try to figure if he's actually possessed, but again, Khadeed. Sorry, I keep forgetting his name. Nadim obviously has this power of bending fire to fight that you can use to fight ghosts. Essentially, that power has been passed down to him, and of course he reacts, and of course Bill Murray doing his famous Peter Venkman just does everything to try to provoke the guy, and of course fire is also very reactive around him when he gets angry, of course, because again, we associate fire with rage, so typical thing. And at first he kind of fumbles with trying to use the fire powers, but eventually, literally one thing he kind of does on that, he just kind of does a little bit, is that he actually can take the proton stream and actually even channel that. But then again, the same thing the methods they used to trap Garaka thousands of years ago. And the proton packs are essentially the same thing. It's energy or more or less fire. So he basically can channel that. But Garaka is so powerful that even a positron stream from the proton pack, he can literally cause it to freeze on contact, which is crazy. So he's not so easily beat with stuff like most other ghosts would be. So this really ups the stakes with this character. And I think out of people who really die in this movie, I think we only have really two real casualties. Sure, there were a lot of people that were frozen, so I'm pretty sure all of them are dead. You can't really count them all, but one guy literally shatters, and there's one dude, the dude that's in the bodega vape shop that's right below Nadeed's apartment. That's below Nadeed's apartment. Garaka just walks in and says, "Are you the fire bender guy?" Essentially. And he says, yeah, if you want to get, and he just freezes the dude, and he just freezes that dude and shatters him. So good well, he's dead. But the Ghostbusters, obviously, both the OGs and them have more to do. And back to Phoebe, she obviously uses that machine to pull her spectral and her basically her soul, her spirit, her soul out for about 5 minutes. So she's essentially astral projecting with that machine for about 2 minutes. And of course, the Ghost Girl, obviously, again, I don't think her name is even mentioned, or I think maybe it's Melody, I think. I don't know. I don't think even in the credit, I don't think they even really give her name for the credits. But still, she essentially, it's all a ruse, as Phoebe gets to experience briefly what it's like to be a ghost. Garaka's power obviously possesses her, and she starts speaking in an ancient mantra, which again they actually did record with those old little those old Victrola thingy detector that they record in those little cylinder things that they used back in the day. They actually recorded it, and they actually had samples of stuff like that from down in the library. But the possessor ghost thingy obviously gets into it, obviously grabs it, possesses like a damn trash bag, and then it basically sort of possesses one of the lions at the library. I know they got names, but I completely their names just escape me. But still, they do it, and that's what actually gets them arrested. And again, the same running gag in the movie is that Peck goes around berating her about the whole thing and the incident at the library, and he says, "You better behave yourself, young lady." And then it cuts to her in handcuffs in an interrogation room. So it's obvious She did the exact same thing that her grandfather would have done against Peck. She would have automatically tried to attack the guy. Man, again, really showing that Phoebe really does take after Egon perfectly. So yeah, again, once again Phoebe's benched. No, even in the meantime, when that ghost scrolls around, they get a call from a lady at a local diner saying that there's a ghost there, and of course it's that ghost girl with the flames, and they claim in the movie that she essentially died in a house. She essentially died in a fire or something. And of course, her spirit lingers, and she couldn't cross over. And again, the whole thing why she basically helped Garaka was simply the whole idea of just simply wanting to see her family again and cross over to the other side. Literal deal of the devil trope right there with her. I mean, again, do you remember what happened with Ivo Shandor? At least he repossessed his old body just to get split in half like a piece of cattle in a slaughterhouse by Gozer. It's just like, no, you do not ever make a deal. No matter what they promise you, you're gonna get screwed over immediately. I mean, it's the same thing with the freaking Reapers, and it's the same thing with Reaper indoctrination and Mass Effect. You believe what this person is right, and whatever the hell they think they're gonna promise you, it's gonna end up biting you in the butt at some point. Or yeah, thank you for your service. Now die. It's always stupid with that trope. I mean, it's a decent trope for narrative in terms of dealing with an antagonist or some person who thought they were doing something good, but ultimately they ended up dooming everybody else. It's good. And yeah, but once Garaka's full power is unleashed, he goes into the apartment, goes in the chamber, gets his horns back, and his full power is restored. And of course, he freezes the whole city under ice. He starts freezing the whole city under ice. And of course, all the Ghostbusters, both the new and the OGs, all come together to fight. All come together to take him on. And yeah, while this is happening, every single time the orb of Garaka reacts to something, it just causes ice to shatter out, ice to just move out across the streets, and literally causes the containment field under the firehouse to constantly be pushed to the point where it basically literally breaks at the end, creating a temporary little sky hole. And again, we brought that trope back from every movie that came out from every world-shattering apocalyptic movie from the 2010s. So yeah, that things are gotten bad. A lot of the ghosts have gotten released, and again, they all do get away. But yeah, they do deal with the thing. But again, since they find out that brass is a thing that can contain this creature, she actually melts down whatever brass they could find, even though they had some brass that was stripped away from some vagabonds or homeless dudes in the 90s. But again, the movie really draws a lot of inspiration from the real Ghostbusters animated series. And yeah, so like I said, they break down a lot of whatever brass they can and put it into the accelerator part for her proton pack. I know it was only enough for just hers, but everyone tries to fight with the thing. Yeah, again, trying to shoot their proton streams at Garaka does not work because he can literally freeze anything just by coming into contact with it. But of course, Phoebe's brass infused proton pack obviously creates green energy, and of course, like I said, Kadim, I keep forgetting his name. Nadim. Yeah, Nadim's power fully gets realized, and of course, he obviously uses his power, but also when he also puts the armor down. There's a dumb little overdone, and it's a literally really cringy scene of him trying to go down the fire pole, and of course, just silly banter, just trying to stall for time. and everyone's just like, dude, just like, what's going on here? And even Gary kind of gets into it too. There are, like I said, there are some really kind of cringy, like overdone dialogue. But Garaka obviously meets his match with Phoebe's powerful brass-infused proton pack, and of course, Nadim's ancient fire Ghostbuster powers to try to contain Garaka at the time, and eventually, once the containment field bursts up, Ray just says some techno babble mumbo jumbo. They can reverse the polarities or something, and essentially try using that thing to trap Garaka. When at first they try to use a normal ghost trap, which obviously he just swatted away. But they pull him back into the old containment field where now he is trapped there forever. And eventually they're gonna have to find a way to actually get him into the larger containment field that's outside of town at some point, because they literally said all the ghosts they trapped back in the 80s, it literally would take them about 7 years to move every single one of them into the larger containment field offsite in the sister research site outside of the city. And that's just like, wow, they were that good. And it really shows that, they really were that good at catching ghosts. But yeah, they basically stop Garaka, save the day, the city gets thawed out, everything goes, and of course the whole city cheers for them. And knowing full well now and forever that the Ghostbusters are not going anywhere, because no matter where a Spectre strikes, no matter what freaky ghost they see, who are you always going to call? And it's going to always be, now and forever, the Ghostbusters. So overall, Ghostbusters Afterlife, or not Afterlife, completely butchered it. Ghostbusters Frozen Empire is a solid movie, and it's definitely worth a watch. It really mixes a lot of things up, and it's great. It's absolutely good. Brand new antagonist, and I would love to see what sort of new, crazier, and dangerous ghosts they deal with in the future, if there are going to be any more future films, which I am all for it. I absolutely love this. I love to see it's great to see the OGs one last time. I mean, sure, Afterlife was literally a passing of the torch moment for the series. I mean, and just resolve the ending with Egon Spengler. And I mean, even then, even nice little touch at the end, because again, Ivan Reitman passed away a couple years ago. It was written and said, for Ivan, and it was another great little tribute to him. And I know there's a post-credit stinger with, they did bring back those little Stay Puft Marshmallow Men things that were just literally there for just silly little shock value and cuteness thing. It just cuts some random trucker who's hauling Stay Puft Marshmallow products, and of course they literally just hijack it. Those little Marshmallow Men just hijack his truck and just drive off with it. Just a little cute little post-credit stinger that really doesn't really add much. That doesn't really add anything to the movie. It's just kind of there. But still, overall, it's great. It's a good movie. To anyone who hasn't seen it yet, like I said, but I mean, hopefully, if you're watching the spoiler review this movie, because this has been heavily spoiled for you, if you actually really did like it, awesome. If you really want to see more, I really hope we get another brand new Ghostbusters movie with these characters again. And maybe the last time we'll see another Ghostbusters movie with the OGs. Which again, I'm glad at least most of everyone in the movie got something to do, at least. And it's really good. So yeah, people at Ghost Corps, Columbia, Sony, we want more Ghostbusters movies. And as long as you got the same creative people who worked on Afterlife to continue the franchise, I'm all for it. I'm pretty sure a lot of fans of Ghostbusters are all for it. So please, we want more. But this is just my opinion. What do you guys think? Be sure to leave your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you all for watching. And as always, guys, may God, the Force, and the power protect you always. See you next time.